Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The SEN City Classic reaches a boiling point last night. Big results between Sentinels, Cloud9, Qubit, and of course the NV team as well. Cloud9 bombing out of the tournament with immediate effect. Big reaction already to the nepotism potentially around this team. It is still very much early days, but Sentinels looking very solid so far on the other side of the server, especially Cortesia and his performance last night. But what's going on at G2? It seems all the rumours are pushing towards the fact that JonahP is going to be out of that team. He even responds to it last night. Baby Bay gives some thoughts on the matter because rumour has it he might be trailing as his replacement. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Load to start with today. I wanted to begin here because I thought this is kind of funny. Ascend, we know they've been in some drama because they were like our completed it mate with Valorant. Of course they won champs in 2021 instead of Gambit. Didn't go to plan since then. We don't hate Valorant. We appreciated the journey and what it has given us, but we outgrew the filters, the political correctness, the softness. If an edgy tweet triggers you and you hate us for it, this ain't your place. We want to go back to fighting for our slot. We want to earn our victory, they say. So, you know, thought that was all pretty funny. What that was then pretty funny is that Cloud9 decided to clown them to some degree and said this: we don't hate the off-season events, we appreciate the journey and what they have given us, but we outgrew the pistols, the international teams, the clutches. If an off-season loss triggers you and you hate us for it, this ain't your place. We want to go back to fighting for our slots. We want to earn our victory, right? So, you know, shutting down some of the discussions about these off-season events. We'll come back to that in a second. Couple of roster things. Firstly, Wolves, they did so well last year in Toronto, and then they full collapse and they didn't make it in the end when it mattered at the end of the season. But Sufat is set to stay. They're bringing him in spring, Yosemite, and they're bringing in Joa and, Satoshi, and then Yosemite coming in as well to round things out. So, yeah, of course, Yosemite notably on BLG over like a little time ago. Certainly when they beat NRG, that was the case. So that's their roster for next season. We'll see how they get on, of course. Also confirmation that Bang is in. So, of course, we knew this was coming, but they did finally confirm it. They initially confirmed Asuna and Cryo to stay. Then they confirmed Vora and Timotino in from TSM. Then they've confirmed that, well, Bang is back from his brief stint out with Sentinels, and he's back on 100 Thieves. So, I'm excited for this move. I think it's the right way to go about things. As he says, glad to be back, excited to show the fans what this team can do. So, do we like the team top to bottom? It's Bang, Asuna, Cryo again, but it's Timotino, Vora coming in as well. Vora's going to be the in-game leader. Timotino's going to be on the duelist. So, look, I see the vision here, actually. I think I like what 100 Thieves have done. Is it going to be enough? I think is the key question. But also, who are their competitors really going to be? And what are their competitors cooking up? Because certainly, as we'll see right about now, Cloud9 not looking so good so far. Sentinels are, but of course they've got no Zekin anymore. He's gone to MIBR. But also, have MIBR made the right decisions, given the fact that Cortesia, well, he had a pretty good time yesterday. So, John QT was talking about Zeltis. It's all rather funny. And then we got to get into the games, right? So, yesterday, Qubit Academy, they took down Cloud9. So, this, of course, the new Cloud9 roster. Zeltis coming in as there as the in-game leader. Zeppa, Vic, Penny, and Octian. Typically, the off-season tournaments, they do rather well. But on this occasion, this brand new Qubit team that has really just been formed, right? I mean, it may not stay the same. They brought Kessens, they brought Kessin certainly last minute, brought Xander in effectively last minute as well. They turn up against the new Cloud9 team. Again, is it just going to be Oxy and friends? Maybe this year it's Oxy, Penny and friends. I don't know. But game one, they lost the split to the Qubit Academy 14-12 in an overtime. They then won the Sunset 13-9 before then losing the Abyss 13-11. Close fought affair, but Cloud9 go down. We'll get back to this tweet from Baby Bay here in a second, as C9 say new in-game leader and former in-game leader. So, thought this was kind of cool. I know there has been a little bit of discussion on what Sentinel's decision-making actually was, because Zelsis said the other day that effectively he had decided to leave, right, and go to Cloud9. He wasn't very happy with what Sentinels were building, didn't think that was a good idea. Even if that's true, which it probably is, from his perspective, would he have survived anyway, right? Because if they were bringing back John QT, but they were also looking for a new in-game leader, potentially in Caillou, would there have been a world where, even with John not being the in-game leader, that Zelsis would, part ways anyway? Who exactly knows what happened behind the scenes? But I thought it was kind of nice to see this anyway, between the pair of them. We then got Sentinels played Cloud9. So Cloud9 just lost to Qubit, so surely Sen were going to beat them. That's exactly what they did. This was very impressive, I thought, from Sentinels just in general, their performance yesterday. Cortesia had an absolute masterclass here. Redux looked really good as well. So this is early doors for Sentinels, but I think we could safely say, especially because they played Envy as well shortly afterwards, that there's definitely a lot of potential in what they've cooked up here, right? Like, the Cortesia Redux combo was really effective yesterday. Narrate on the duelist is definitely interesting. Caillou, I think, has done a pretty good job as the in-game leader so far. JonahP filling in the gaps where necessary. So they won the Pearl. They then went on to win the split 13-11. Good map here from Narrate on the Rays. Oxy was on the Chamber. Again, it's the same old story over at Cloud9 within reason. And Sentinels take the win. I think it has turned some heads on MIBR's decision, right? Because they got rid of Cortesia, they let him go to Sentinels when they probably could have kept him, to our understanding. It's not like there were contractual situations that they did some sort of swap with Zekken. That was just an astute pickup from Sentinels. But MIBR probably could have kept him, but they've gone for Tex instead. Is that going to prove to be a good idea in due course? We'll see. But yes, Penny says, out of the SEN events. Pleasure meeting everyone. See you later this week in New York. So there's Red Bull Homegrounds, I think, to come very shortly. Cloud9 say that their desk was cooked because that side of the stage on that desk was actually 0-5. We were 3 of them. So yeah, Cloud9 think that it might just be to do with that. I'm not so convinced. Sen then went on to beat Envy later in the day. Ion and Kane were their top performance here, which is, of course, notable because they won't be there on this team next season. They'll have to replace them. But after winning the Pearl 13-8, they then got kind of destroyed on the split. Envy did very well here. Of course, they've got Curry instead of Inspire for this tournament, so not the ideal map for Sentinels, but it's still pretty close, that Envy team, to the team that just won the most recent Ascension tournament. And then Sentinels slammed them on Senset. So they are officially back. Redux was on the Chamber. Again, Cortesia here with a great map. So yeah, some questions about Sentinels, but I think the early signs for that roster look pretty good. They were certainly having a good time with it. And, well, it's not over yet in terms of this tournament, right? We are going to see more. This is just a quick highlight here from Cortesia. So Cloud9 are done. Of course, it was never going to work out with, well, Qubit were probably never going to be beating Sentinels, realistically speaking. But Envy are still very much alive in the tournament as well. But the fact that Cloud9 turned up and were, you know, effectively and undeniably the worst performer of the tournament is not really a great sign for them. So this is how things look. As I say, C9 are basically cooked. We've got Envy versus Qubit, and then the winner of that will play Sentinels in the grand finals. There you go. So Cloud9 plays 4th and makes $0 prize money. The other team will make $2,500, $7,500, $10,000 respectively. Caillou says 2-0 Qubit, 2-0 Cloud9, 2-1 Envy, love my team. So it is starting well for Sentinels, it has got to be said. But the other big talking point of last night was G2 yet again. So we've seen now for some time that JonahP has not been spotted in G2 scrims. This has been pretty controversial because clearly a very versatile player. Look, in terms of like raw talent, could you try and upgrade? Yeah, but I think many would argue that JonahP has been a very important part of that guard team and then G2 team's success over the last few years. But maybe they don't feel that, or they feel that they need to do something, and getting rid of Jorgamo, Leaf, Trent or Valin simply isn't going to happen, so there's only one option. Sources say JonahP will not remain in the starting lineup at G2 next year. Baby Bay is currently being trialled, so this would be really remarkable to me. Of course, Baby Bay replaced Leaf for some time at the end of last season. But then when Leaf was back, Baby Bay was out, and look, they obviously liked what he brought to the team, that's for sure. But, you know, is he a JonahP replacement, really? It's just interesting, because if you're going to get rid of JonahP, the logic is probably, okay, we need somebody, like, really special mechanically to help us even get to the next level beyond where we have been at the internationals this season. You know, maybe Baby Bay could be that guy. But, I don't know, I think it's interesting for sure that he's being trailed here. There will be other names in that conversation as well. So JonahP the other day tweeted this out, the heart emoji. This was kind of when we started to hear the rumours. Now it has definitely continued, and yeah, the rumours continue that JonahP will not be part of that lineup going into next season. Baby Bay, maybe others as well. Now what was interesting about this is Baby Bay responded to this. He quote tweeted the tweet with this picture of JonahP, the coach, JonahP, and then Baby Bay carrying Qubits here. So and then he tweeted in the replies, you know, like what's going on type thing. So thought this is an interesting tweet because, well, look, if Baby Bay is actually taking JonahP's spot, this would be a very disrespectful tweet to make, right? Like, if he actually is trialing and he's replacing JonahP, to do this tweet of Jonah and Baby Bay and everything together, and then to tweet out, like, you know, what's going on, would feel a little bit, you know, ambiguous, let's say. So I don't know if this maybe means that both of them are going to be gone. Not like gone, maybe Baby Bay stays as the sub or something, but yeah, I'm not sure. Because Baby Bay might have been in their scrimmers, but it might not be a setup where he's necessarily going to be the JonahP replacement. But who else do they get, right? Because a lot of the other big names in this offseason have been signed now. They're locked down. They've certainly got rumours as to where they're going to go. So yeah, I'm not sure what's happening next on this one, but was kind of surprised that Baby Bay decided to comment in the circumstances. And then JonahP went on to say this: "Don't you worry, I'll tell you guys the whole story." So you know, immediately some responses here. Look, I don't know, like, is this happening or not? But Akamaru, he might be wrong, but there's certainly, you know, he's been right on a fair few things. He seems relatively connected, and JonahP's tweets over the last few days have certainly implied that. And it's not just the tweets, right? It's the fact that we've seen G2 scrim and he's not been there. I mean, this is another one, right? They're playing, they're playing Zerona, Pancakes, Icy, and those fellas. We've got Jorgamo, we've got Trent, we've got Valin, again, another scrim where there's certainly no JonahP spotted here. But also I will say we've not seen Baby Bay in any of their scrims. It may be true, but it's plausible that G2 are playing with some sort of, like, you know, additional account that isn't appearing here in these screenshots, and somebody else is logging into that account and trialing with it. Who knows? But yeah, again, their scrims post JonahP era haven't looked that good, really. I mean, a lot of them they've not been doing so well in, theoretically. Okay, it's only scrims, but it's still relevant in terms of building a new team. So, not sure where we go from here, but there's certainly plenty of evidence that aligns with the fact that JonahP might not be there any longer. So, very much enjoyed your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.